When I was a kid, I remember renting Sonic the Hedgehog from my uncle's game store. I could never make it past the Marble Hill Zone though. I still really enjoyed the Green Hill Zone. I remember all the colors and music really impressing my little baby brain. I would also rent two others, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and then Sonic and Knuckles. Chemical Plant Zone terrified me. I was small, I could barely hold the controller, so avoiding the water paths was kinda difficult. And that drawing music is probably why I have anxiety today. Still though, the colors and sounds amazed my baby brain greatly, even if I never completed those games. My first exposure to Sonic Adventures was through a demo disc, but I would eventually rent it too, and again, never beat it. I enjoyed it a lot, I even completed Big Story, but it was Gammas that stuck me. I think I was too small to understand I was supposed to blow up enemies to get more time, and instead just tried to run to the end before time ran out. So again, I never actually completely finished it. It wouldn't be till Sonic Adventure 2 Battle on the GameCube I would see the true ending to a Sonic game. I remember making it to the final story, and then drowning as Knuckles in his final run, but thanks to a Tips and Tricks magazine, I would know where to find the snorkel upgrade that lets him breathe underwater, making that section easy. The ending being so huge and climatic as Super Shadow and Supersonic headbutt a giant space lizard till it dies, I thought that was pretty awesome. Though from there, Sonic would kind of teeter off until it completely dove into mediocre and bad or just outright forgettable. I'd play and relatively enjoy Sonic Heroes despite how buggy it is, and I even got some fun out of Shadow despite how edgy that one was. The GBA and DS games would pass me by, and Sonic 06 would be the first game I owned along with my PS3. Sonic 06 was kinda rough. And by kinda, I mean really rough. But I did manage to complete it, and besides really bad loading times, I kinda enjoyed it. But that was pretty much the end of my journey with Sonic games for a long time. I never owned a Wii, so the Secret Wings and Black Knight would pass by without much notice from me. I didn't hear much from them either. No one really talked about if they were good and didn't remember even hearing about people saying they were bad. Sonic Unleashed I'd actually give a chance, but was ultimately put off by how long and boring the Werehog stages were. Also how grindy the game was for the medals, plus the medals mostly being in the Werehog stages. The other games I never looked at. Colors and Lost World getting a resounding shrug from me, as not only did I not have the platforms to play them, I was just kinda over Sonic at that point. Generations came out, and I hear that one was good, though again, never played. I tried Mania and was pretty solid, but would also not finish. I don't know, I guess I'm more of a 3D Sonic games kid. Forces? So, in a sense, I haven't really played a Sonic game in genuine since 06. A lot of the games after 06 seem to be debated on if they're good or bad, and this and that, but 06 seems to be resounding the worst video game ever. And I often hear how Sonic is dead or was never good. Even the ones looked upon fondly are janky and glitchy messes. But from the get-go, Sega seemed to actually want to make a game again. Like, really try this time to make a genuine and fun game with the old blooper. So here we have Sonic Frontiers, or as some like to call it, Breath of the Hedgehog, which honestly sounds like a raunchy fanfic that probably already exists before this. Sonic Frontiers, however, is not open world. Open zone was the term they used to describe it, and that seems fairly accurate to me. I had high hopes for Frontiers, I won't lie. From all the bad and mediocre games that have been released under the name of Sonic, I hear that they're going to give a genuine effort, made me hope for an actual fun and high-speed platforming game. So, was Sonic Frontiers good? Honestly, I'd say yeah. Is the story a masterpiece worthy to be counted among the epics of legends? No, not at all. But what kind of person comes into a Sonic game expecting that? It's corny, it's lighthearted, and it's a story kids could follow and understand, which of course the target audience includes young children like how most of the audience was when we played Sonic Adventure. For what it is, I think it's pretty solid. Nothing amazing and heart-wrenching like Red Dead Redemption 2, but honestly only a moron would compare those two games. I won't go too heavy into details for spoilers, but the gist of Sonic and Tails and also Amy for some reason are flying around in the Tails ship. I forgot the name. I want to say Highwind, but that's Final Fantasy, pretty sure. They are looking for the Chaos Emeralds. Anyway, it crashes again and we get a tutorial in some funky land. When we get out, we're greeted with a lot of green and rain, and somber music, which at first for me I wasn't really into, but it grows on me. And proceeding forward, we get some more tutorials on explaining how open zones will work. It's essentially some platforming and simple puzzles which reward you with either more of the map or some progression items. You need gears to unlock the stages, which in turn gives you keys which you need to get the emeralds. You get gears from beating the mini-bosses on the field, which are sometimes like puzzles themselves. This game has a leveling system too, in which you turn in certain collectibles to exchange for stats, and even get XP for skill points to get more attacks for Sonic. Relatively, the game keeps you on good pace if you explore as you head towards the objective. You shouldn't really need to grind for progression materials, though if you beeline towards every objective marker, you will obviously need to grab the items you need. But throughout most zones, you'll have to beat a few mini-bosses, some stages, and clear some platforming before you can move on. The first item feels pretty good with spacing, and once you get your hands on 6 Chaos Emerald, you'll be told a big scary giant that beat you up earlier has the last one. So this is the formatting for all the islands. Get some gears, gather some keys, grab the emerald, and collect whatever item your friend needs to talk to you. Amy being hearts, Tails being tails, and Knuckles being chuckles. Once all your collecting is done, you go to confront one of the titans, and the theme that plays as you try to figure out how to get the Chaos Emerald from that titan is pretty good. Most of these are pretty simple and can be over in like a minute. I kinda wish getting the last emerald was a little more respectable, to be honest. The second titan kinda is, though the other two are pretty much just run up the leg. Either way, the main show starts after you grab the last emerald and Sonic becomes supersonic. Once transforming, a proper boss fight starts. And Sonic's the best supersonic has ever been. Instead of just ramming into the boss, you actually have control over his flight and can still dodge and do combos. The fights might be relatively simple, but if I was a kid again, that shit would have blown my mind for real, for real. Even now, it's still pretty fun and cool. Since plenty of people pointed it out, the first titan is straight up the third angel from Ava. Once entering the second page, each titan even transforms and resembles the pharaoh form that Unit Ava 2 had. While we're at it, Sage is pretty much just Ray. Funny enough, the English voice actor is the same for both characters. So, much like Sonic has always done, they saw anime and thought, that shit is cool, put it in. Just like they did with Super Saiyan, the Dragon Balls, and Shadow Vegeta. Personally, I love Ava, so I'm all for it, hell yeah, man. Plus, the storyline between Eggman and Sage is pretty wholesome and sweet. I liked it. But back into the actual boss fights. Most of them boil down to avoiding Hurdies and punching the heck out of them. Nothing too complex, this isn't Sonic Souls or anything, but the tracks for each titan are straight bangers. The second titan has my favorite. Find Your Flame is a certified Ruka classic for real, for real. The tracks in the subspace levels aren't bad either. The overworld has more atmospheric music, and the fishing minigame has a real chill lo-fi beat to fish to, and I appreciate that. Speaking of fishing, Big is there in just like a void or something, like a fishing void. He seems pretty chill with it though, so like, okay, sure. You can give him fish reel in for tokens and then trade that for various items. Eggman was being the most expensive, but some pretty neat backstory in them. I was not prepared for a callback to the alien demon things from Shadow. Speaking of, the game makes some real cool callbacks to pretty much all of the games, most critically to one of Tails. He mentions how upset he is with himself for freezing up when Infinite attacked in forces. Sonic reminds him how he saved Station Square in Adventure 1, and various other moments Tails was a hero. They don't exactly fix these moments or anything, but acknowledging Tails has been inconsistent in universe, Tails saying this himself, is a good step in fixing up the mess the characters have been as of late. To touch a bit more on the story, so spoilers ahead, be warned. I'll try to put a timestamp here if you don't want to be spoiled. I'll pause here, give you guys a minute to settle in, skip to the timestamp, you know. I don't want to ruin the game for anybody or anything. Okay, they should be gone now. The gang essentially finds out that the Chaos Emeralds were made by aliens. The island Sonic is traversing seems to be ruins of theirs that crashed down on Earth when they drifted near and reacted to the Master Emerald. We found out that something wiped out this race, and so the survivors locked themselves in cyberspace, or rather their memories as a way to preserve their culture. Eggman, being locked in cyberspace, invents an AI named Sage to control and manage it. I think cyberspace is a pretty interesting way to excuse the levels being nostalgia bait, as the levels you run through in cyberspace as Sonic are from previous games like Radical Highway and Metal Base. Makes sense since these are Sonic memories after all. Sonic, being epic and special, seems to be the only one who breaks free from cyberspace himself, and defeating the Titans restores friends piece by piece, while also infecting him with some bad mojo each time. Sonic, being that guy, says nah, it's fine, and proceeds to do this 3 times until it's not fine. But he frees his friends and Eggman, but in doing so he seems to free something else that is making Sage freak out, having unknowingly released the big bad that has been the voice in the sky this whole time. Sonic's friends give him their energy or something, and he's restored. Sage saying that him and Eggman teaming up might be their only chance to stop this. Eggman pretty much just finds the last summer for you, but okay, sure, whatever. The dialogue of them teaming up is pretty amusing. Once fighting the final boss, Sage takes over the mech it was in control of, and the two of you fly out to fight the real final enemy in space, simply called BN. It's like a proper movie. Eggman says farewell and calls Sage his daughter, and then the final fight becomes fucking Ikaruga. This fight seems to be only in hard mode, and if you've never played this shmup before, well, good luck, champ. But once following in her father's footsteps, i.e. Sage and Sonic blow up the moon, the day is saved and Sage fucking dies. Sonic and the gang fly out to their next fun happy adventure, and Eggman stares at the debris falling from the sky knowing his daughter's died. Sonic ignoring her last words of please watch out your father. Another beautiful song plays that seems to be from the perspective of Sage singing to Eggman. It doesn't have all that much screen time, but damn, why Sage and Eggman dynamic go so hard, man? Thankfully, there's an after credit scene that shows Eggman restoring her AI, ending on the line, "That's my girl," when Sage responds. And that's the story. I can't believe Vegeta and Sonic do the fusion dance at the end to beat Darth Vader. Damn, that was crazy. But yeah, overall I liked Frontiers, and I enjoyed that the 4th island mixes it up with a bunch of platforming challenges. The 5th island felt like the most grindy to me, but at that point fishing paid out so much that I just fish for everything. The keys, the memory tokens, and a lot of cocos. Or whatever those little rock buddies are called. Is this game flawless? No, not at all. There are some bugs here and there, and sometimes Sonic does not play well with the open environment. Also, the worst thing by far is how slow it is to level up speed and rings. You have to do it one level at a time, and there's like a 3-second delay before being able to navigate the menu to select level up again. It doesn't help that the elder will always say, no such thing as too fast for over level speed despite it being the slowest thing in the game. I swear I was going to drive me mad. Overall though, I think this was a great Sonic game. A big win for the fans of the series. Leaps and bounds better than the previous entries over the past like 10 years. If you've never played Sonic game and want to try this one, this is easily the best one to sink your teeth into. Lastly, if you hate the game because hating Sonic is cool and funny thing to do, yeah, okay, fair enough. You don't have to like something if you don't want it, but you also suck and I hate you. In the end though, this game has no Chow Garden or Crush for you, so shit game do not play. Seriously, Sega, make a Chow Garden game. People will pay bang for that. I'll spend $50 on a little cowboy hat for my Chow and then enter karate tournaments and race with them. Why do you hate money, Sega? Why?